Good morning, everyone. It's 20 after 2 in the morning. Tonight there was a red moon. I don't know if I'm going to go outside and watch it, but I'm watching other things because that's my job. That's what you told me to do, so I'm doing it. Today I was listening to Thomas Sowell about, let's see here. What to do about homelessness. And that's a subject that's, I'm working on. But this is the difference between how most people watch maybe lectures and videos or read something. Whether it's, because they're tired, they work a lot, they're not that bright, who has the time for it all. There's all sorts of different reasons why they may or may not quite put it all together. Some people just have a knack for it. I tend to have a knack for seeing how connecting dots, unlike some people who connect any dot to any dot to make whatever picture they want, I try to bring out the reality of the picture by taking dots from different sectors and applying those dots in not so obvious sectors and how they apply. So while watching this little short about Thomas Sowell and the homeless, he talks about how in Russia, he'll say it as well as anybody.
Confess that just recently I did give out some money to an elderly lady in St. Petersburg, Russia, because I'm told that they've been devastated by the fact that their pensions have been ruined by the inflation that they've had over there. And so there are people, like that. But now we have a program.
Not an able-bodied guy walking up to you.
No, good.
So
heaven.
he said pensions have been ruined by inflation. Well, guess what states are highly pensioned? What states have been negotiating pensions that are so ridiculous to soothe their union-driven bases? Oh, California and New York, amongst others. So if I'm a congressperson or a city mayor, council, state government, legislator, something like that, and it's obvious that my pensions that I negotiated are coming due, and those pensions are going to break the state, inflation would be an eraser, wouldn't it? I can only imagine that these pensions don't have 30% inflation wording into them, maybe 5%, 6% inflation. But we're seeing the highest inflation, record amounts of inflation since the Carter eras. So if I was promised $60,000 a year on a job that was paying me $70,000 a year in my pension, that's kind of ridiculous, don't you think? I'm getting paid just as much when I retire as I did when I worked. How could a company survive that? How could anybody survive that? Well, if you tank the dollar and suddenly everybody's getting paid $60,000 a year, whether it's McDonald's or Walmart, well, now the money's going to be printed off so profusely that I could easily cover those poorly negotiated pensions because the dollar's not worth anything, and there's plenty. So now the money I'm giving my pensioners isn't at all what they bargained for, but I'm off the hook because the pensions are getting paid. Do you see how that works? All right. I've known for a while that the climate crisis group, which is the left, they're so insane about how fast the crisis is coming that if we don't do these things, we're going to, the world's going to end. And their con job didn't start out a con job for most of them, only some of them. And to keep perpetuating the same little lie, you have to keep lying. And so you have to make more lies about more areas to make the lie, And so suddenly all those lies are coming to bear here soon because we should be underwater and whatnot. And, the temperatures should be just, such record temperatures that, and they're not. If you watched any of my other videos, last summer they were claiming record temperatures in Paris, record temperatures in Europe, but if you went and looked at Europe's actual records, they weren't actual records. Now Spokane did. This was a pretty hot summer. We tied an all-time record. Okay. 114 degrees. Yeah, I got smoking hot. But I've been born and raised in Spokane. I grew up here. I remember as a youth, scorching hot summers every now and then. It's cyclical. It comes in cycles. That's weather. Weather cycles. Climate cycles. So, everybody's, and if you look at studies, the one thing technology is going to do for us, and it is doing it for us, is helping us get around personal testimonies. Whether it's from the sick, at religious events, whether it's the weather in the 1970s, whatever, because there's more information out there to be had. It's harder to make false information stick. I grew up before Google. I was in the bars before Google. And there's nothing more a drunk loves to do than argue about shit that can't be proven. It's frustrating. Any moron who has any amount of argument skills could get drunk enough to win an argument. So then it's all about just see who's drunk enough to go the furthest. Who's willing to go outside and brawl over the argument? It doesn't matter what the argument is. I was one of those people that was not only right, but willing to brawl. Anyways, it's one of my failings, actually. I'll fight for anything. Some people are just born that way. So it's long for the last. So what they're going to do, because it's getting so bad and looking so bad for them. So, but let's get to another honest opinion of mine. They're the same team. They're the same team, right? Left and right. So how do you not lose control? Because once the people realize in a way that's so undeniable that you're full of shit, you can't win that trust back. So you smoke and mirrors them, you distract them, and then you come up with some other way of saying, oh, well, because we did this, and because of that, what we predicted was going to happen didn't happen because they're going to claim victory on the climate. Because the climate's not going to do what they say they do, so they're going to say all these measurements, all these things we enacted, all the laws and regulations, that's why we didn't sink. Even though study after study after study said if we fulfilled the Paris Accords, it was going to do nothing, maybe a 1 to 2% impact on greenhouse gases, which would do very little to stop anything that they said was coming. But they're going to say these things are the reason why we're not living on a desert planet. And it's just, I see it coming. I know how they work, and they're going to claim a victory, even though they're fucking wrong. Hopefully, it's not the system that's broke. It's the people that are running them. It's the people that are whether they're scientists or politicians, whether they're economists or nonprofits. When you become heavily involved, invested into a certain theory, especially if you think you're right, you're not going to give up those theories or that investment quietly. And that's I don't believe that there's necessarily a difference between the left and right, because everybody, I don't know if you've heard my theory. Have you heard my theory? It's a little early for conspiracies, but George Bush Sr., who was one of the longest tenured CIA directors, developed the machine, the Clinton machine. What? But he's a Republican, and look, the Iran-Contra scandal, the drugs coming into the country, the guns leaving the country, almost all the drugs landed and almost all the guns left through a little state called Arkansas. And at the time, guess who was governor? That's right, Billy Clinton. So Clinton's payoff was the presidentship. He was owned by Bush Jr. Ever notice how cozy the Bushes and Clintons got after each one was done? Look, read my lips. No new taxes. And then it just hikes tax. I mean, like, it's pretty easy to figure out how to get elected. Offer free shit, right? It's pretty easy to know. Well, let's say I just want to become president so I can act my secret machine, and then put my boy, who's on the other side of the aisle, as the foundation. Look, George Sr. develops the shadow government, and the shadow government makes sure that the people, the presidents, are down with the shadow government and are a part of the shadow government, regardless of which side they're on. Things were going along just fine. We had plenty of fucking war and non-wars in the Middle East, while Obama, Bush, and then Hillary, and then whoever. These were all part and parcel, trained and legitimate parts of the machine. Why do you think the Clinton Foundation shut down the day after Hillary lost the presidency? There's lawsuits against the Clinton Foundation for all the fucking money they got because they're for hire. It was the machine. We're going to war with China here soon. And it's probably going to cost a lot of Taiwanese lives. The problem is, as smart as our shadow government thinks it is, which is probably pretty smart, China doesn't want to play along, and I don't think Putin is. I think Putin's probably tired of playing a second chair, third chair, fourth chair on the world fucking dominance scene. And when Trump disrupted the machine. You saw what they did to him. When Trump decided that Obama ran his mouth a little too much and wanted to show what somebody with power could do, disrupted the fucking machine, and the worst. The machine was dishonest because it had to lie to propagate its foundations. Kennedy was real. Reagan was real. Carter was an oops. Ford, that's why they shot Kennedy. They couldn't. It was an Eisenhower. It probably goes back to Eisenhower. George Bush Sr., part of an elite force that no one knew about. And so, when the time was right, he became vice president and worked his magic for 8 years as vice president, was president for that's 12 years to institute his people, the right people, left and right, into the machine. What if China and Russia don't play nice? We know they don't play nice. Taiwanese might be a distraction. Because Taiwan is the chessboard the United States wants to play on. They don't care about lives. What if China faints at Taiwan and lands in Canada? What if Russia and China are working together to take back Alaska and California? Right? That'd be flanking the United States. What do you mean, Cameron? Well, Alaska is sparsely populated, and California are a bunch of communists anyways. Southern California all the way up to San Francisco. That whole coastline has been propaganded into thinking Marxism is better. If China figured out how to land a fleet in northern Mexico, you think the drug cartels care who's running America? They will. They will. I just don't think we have anyone with foresight in the shadow government. They're too busy with this whole fucking Biden. Look what Biden's done. They're too busy covering up their fucking bullshit policies so their people can get reelected, so they can maintain control, that China's going to blindside us with Russia at the same time. Tactical nuclear hits. There's no scenario that I can think of that would reasonably have China and Russia. What Biden did was treason, man. What he's been doing is treasonous. Cutting off our pipeline. Trudeau is bought and paid for by the Chinese government. During the COVID crisis, he sent millions of dollars worth of PPE equipment to China for support, behest of his own people. I don't know why you people don't get it. You're wrapped up in your little, Rittenhouse wars and your DeSantis saviors. It's all bullshit because, one, DeSantis shouldn't be having to do what he has to do against our own government, and Rittenhouse should never have been charged. It's just that simple. But these are the things they're using to distract us. What would Canada do if a major Chinese force landed in Alaska, what would they do? If the Soviet Union distracted our forces enough to get what would Mexico do if they're not in on it? If suddenly a huge Chinese military force of booted soldiers landed on the Taiwan Peninsula, not Taiwan, Baja Peninsula, what would they do? Let me show you something. I don't trust these fucking. I don't trust these fucking offshoot, unsolved mystery bullshit fuckers. Something moving. Across the ocean floor. Where was it? I saw something strange not too long ago about pyramids on the ocean floor moving. Let me try that. It was unexplained mysteries, pyramids moving across the ocean floor.
Trains.
All right.
The underwater world is one that's full of mysteries. We've hardly mapped our oceans, but yet every year researchers make fascinating discoveries. One of the most recent ones is this mysterious underwater anomaly that looks strikingly similar to a pyramid. This discovery was made by ET database, and one of the most interesting things about this underwater anomaly is the massive trail that can be seen behind it. This has led some to speculate the object actually moved at one point in time, with one person saying the following: "I like the look of this one. It's important to remember that 99% of Earth's history is not known. Many civilizations
see that
have
trail
come
right
and
there?
gone, and what we're looking at could be one of the oldest pyramids on our planet. They have been found all over the world, and there's no reason why this couldn't be just that."
And there's
Others said that this structure is massive, and that it doesn't look like it's been naturally formed. The trail that can be seen behind the object also reminded some of the Baltic Sea anomaly, which also has a similar trail. Interestingly, this isn't the only underwater pyramid that's been discovered. One that's been shrouded in mystery is that of the Fuxian Lake Pyramid. This mystery is located in Fuxian Lake, which can be found in the Yunnan province in China. This discovery was made back in 2006. Many reports were made by divers and water enthusiasts that would boat on the lake. They claim that the appearance of what seems to be underwater buildings could be seen.
all right. So I had a fucking dream, kind of a nightmare. I don't have these fucking things very often. I don't suffer from crazy dreams of annihilation and fear and stuff like that. And this is like 2 years ago. God damn, I did a video on it then, but I'm not sure what channel. What if the Chinese built a megalith underwater moving cargo tank filled with thousands upon thousands of Chinese military men? Like 10 fucking... Okay, so look. Okay, so Let's see. Gerald Ford aircraft carrier. All right, so this is the Gerald Ford. It just so you see this little bitch here? 5,000, 4,000. Gerald Ford has 4,000, almost 5,000 people, military people on that ship. We can build things this big. All right? What if the Chinese are capable of things through sheer numbers and will that even the most, I don't know, imaginative and scared U.S. CIA, foreign intelligence, Pentagon analyst could think of? We're not Asian. We don't think in the manner Asians think. They think long term in a way that makes us look like we have a white penis and we're going up against, you know what I'm about to say. So, their long term is long time and hard. They can't come across the top of the ocean. They can't come across through the air. This is why. So we might get lucky here but I'm not sure if it's too late. Australian Ocean Strait. Chinese strategy. Under President all right, an increasing aggressive and instead of China contributed to a formation of new tri-territorial security parameters between the U.S., UK, and Australia. No, I'm talking about a specific strait. China makes statement as it sends naval ships off of Australia's coast. Australia's Strategic Policy Institute. Probably a lot less propaganda here, but, 3 recent reports on the Pacific reflect the widening discussion in Australia of the region's shifting dynamics. As DeBell put it, Canberra's deep strategic denial instinct is roused. None of them, however, considers how Beijing might use its success in occupying the South Sea China as a template for expansion in the South Pacific. Although China's growing presence in the South Pacific is multifaceted and a natural reflection of its global power, Beijing's efforts left of launch could no less erode Allied access to the second island chain. For China, there are 4 key similarities between the South Pacific and the South China Sea. Both contain significant resources. Both are dotted by uninhabited atolls that are close to undersea cables. Both contain a number of critical maritime choke points for as their largest trading partner. These similarities might allow Beijing to draw on scientific and commercial left-of-launch assets as a pretext for improving its regional situational awareness. Man, if they're down there on the cables, these are telephone cables, these are broadband cables, these are internet cables, these are information traveling from the South Sea, the Pacific South Pacific, back and forth. If they're tapping into those, I don't know what left of launch is. It's the first time I'm seeing that, so let's look it up. Countering theater ballistic missiles. By Gistor. Left the launch is something we need to continue to pursue and develop because we need to have balance. In 13 fucking seconds? Anti-missile interceptors remain the cornerstone of U.S. missile defense, but the Trump administration has a growing interest in other technologies, one that might be more reliable and less expensive. It's like anything you look at when you look at into combat operations. You don't want to have just one solution to the threat, said Jim Dick, in the double-hatted chief of Army Space and Missile Defense. Yeah, they can't go through space. We probably already have the technology up there. The way they're going to come across is a surprise attack by crazy Asians who are willing to get on a ocean bottom fortress for 5 fucking years. What? Yeah. They're going to have basically carrier size submarines that are crawling across the Asian Pacific floor, where 4,000 Chinese military will suddenly appear on your shore. 4,000. No nukes, no threat of nukes, but now they occupy your city. Do we even have tanks and armies in place on the continental United States to fuck with 4,000 Chinese people showing up on your beach? If not 8, if not 10. And once they secure the military base in San Diego, then what? Now they have a port of entry into the United States, the Baja Peninsula. They'll just take it all. And and everybody will be looking at Taiwan while they swoop around South Pacific. 5-year plan. Big carrier-like submarines crawling across the floor so slow that it'd probably take them 5 years to get here because Chinese are crazy like that. Nuclear reactor. Look, okay, if you look at the fucking ooh. How long is a nuclear reactor good for in a sub?
According to U.S. Environmental
About 20
Protection
years.
Agency, nuclear power allowed submarines to run for about 20 years without needing to refuel. Food supplies became the only limit on a nuclear submarine's time at sea.
Food supplies. So if they could figure out how to sneak food in to a big old sub that looks like the floor of the ocean as it crawls along, whoop, 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 a little closer, a little closer. They can keep those men fed for 5 years, whether it's through stocking up on food. There's 1 billion people in China. You don't think they could find 15 to 100,000 of them that were willing to, patriots of China? Now, this is a guess, a hypothesis, because I'm kind of military minded. I kind of don't. I got trust issues, and I'm like, and I had a fucking dream. I was thinking, well, if I was China, what would I do? I would hit San Diego, The Mexican, and look, motherfuckers, they might have a deal with Mexico, and they're already landed. Right? They've already landed in Mexico. They're hiding out in some cartel's fucking basement, so they can amass enough numbers so that when the surprise shows up on the San Diego shores, they can flank him at the same time, coming up from Tijuana. Tijuana. That's what it is. I was, not Taiwan. Yeah. And Taiwan is smoke and mirrors. How easy would it be for them to take Taiwan if they disabled the San Diego Bay? Fuck even if they're taking it over. What if they dismantled it? Did enough damage to shut it down long enough to take Taiwan? Maybe they're going to show up in Hawaii too. I don't know. Maybe they're going to take the lead from Japan. But just suicide squads decimating Hawaii from underneath on huge carrier-sized submarines with bonsai-type Chinese. They're not getting over here in the air. They're not going to float across the fucking sea. We've got too many fucking... But what is something Chinese are good at? Self-discipline and sacrifice. It's part of their culture. Sacrifice is part of their culture. There's no individualism in China. Even before, there's a reason communists took hold there. They're about the community. They're about the bigger picture. They think bigger picture. Their lives, they think about their ancestry, their family name, how to best serve their family and their business, their corporation, their country. You don't think they can find 100,000 gung ho motherfuckers that's names will be heard forever in the songs of I don't know, whatever. Fill in the fucking storyline there. I'm seriously concerned about this. I hate being right. I fucking hate being right, people. I don't like being right. Would somebody please write your congressman? I don't know. Oh, fuck it. All right. That's what you get for fucking doing a video at fucking almost 2:50 in the morning. It's not good.